Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Fear the Walking Dead video for today, leading up to tonight's episode for Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, which is episode 13 now. In this one, we're going to go ahead and give our thoughts on episode 12, being the lowest rated episode of the entire series for Fear. Yeah, and spoiler warning, if you guys are not caught up for Fear the Walking Dead, which is up to, like I said, Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 12, which was the most recent episode last Sunday. So tonight, coming up here, we have Episode 13, which is Blackjack. So that's the name of the episode, September 9th. Yeah, so that's this one. So we had kind of the mid-season return, and we've had sort of that quarter. Now we're into the last quarter, or the last 4 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 tonight. And basically, last week's episode only got 1.5 million U.S. viewers, which is the lowest out of the entire series for Fear the Walking Dead. Basically, if you look at the first 3 seasons, season 1 averaging around, let's say, 8 range, with the premiere was at 10 million. Season 2 started with 6, got down to about 3 by the end. Season 3 went from 3 down to about 2.2 at the end, with its lowest rate episode 1.99, or basically 2 for US. And then season 4 actually started out pretty good. We had 4 million in the first episode, which was good because they coupled it with the end of The Walking Dead season 8, which personally, I thought was really well done. You have a direct crossover from one to the other. You even had Rick make his first appearance in Fear the Walking Dead, as well as Carol. And I thought it flowed pretty well. It fit well between both series, and it really made Fear the Walking Dead feel like it's more part of the Walking Dead original series and universe than it ever has before. That was the time when you have Morgan go for his run, and eventually he runs into the Fear group, which I thought was compelling. I thought it was a really great premiere for Season 4 to get things started. And, it carried on pretty good in the first half. With the mid-season finale, No One's Gone Till They're Gone, being at 2.32, and then after that, this half kind of came back, 1.88, and then down to 1.52 by episode 12 weeks. So what does that mean? Does it matter? Well, not really, but I think it's just something to kind of, take into account when you consider kind of this current story arc and how people are feeling about Fear right now. Personally, I have been enjoying Fear, getting to see this new kind of soft rebooted version of Morgan and Friends Fear, or Morgan-led Fear the Walking Dead. It is what it is with this second half. It seems to me like with this season, I think what they mainly did, based on, from the outside here, looking at it from my perspective, and I think a lot of you guys have kind of felt this way as well too. It seems like with Fear, they planned out the first half of Season 4 really well. So they had the couple storylines going. They had the Vultures come in as a group of villains. They had it resolved by the time the mid-season finale kind of wrapped up. And even though maybe not everything, was 100% fit like a glove, made sense, it wasn't perfect. You have, for example, them staying in the car, Nick and Alicia, when it's like, they should just leave, right? And then you have Madison having to kind of sacrifice herself in order to save them or the others or whatever, or not able to get out of there, that kind of thing. No one's gone until they're gone. So after that, it seems like it didn't turn away that many viewers or anything like that. But, when you look at this kind of this last quarter, I do think, and I've said before, that this quarter has been a little bit of a weaker quarter, I think, for Fear the Walking Dead. Mainly because, like I said, I think they put most of their focus on the first half and getting people into the series and trying to capture some of that original Walking Dead audience and bring them into Fear. So even though in the first half, it seemed like that was a big success to kind of bring more people in and get more attention to Fear, because it did increase over the previous season, it seems like once the mid-season finale break came up, and then you come back with it with this half during the summertime, just not as much interest. So, as in the first half. So I don't know if it's kind of Walking Dead overall, based on what I've been seeing here online with doing the videos with you guys and kind of the community, or this small internet representation of, the huge community that is Walking Dead fandom. It kind of seems like across the board, not just for Fear, but for Walking Dead as a whole, sort of fan interest is a bit down. So We'll see what happens with that. Is that going to kind of continue? Is that kind of going to be the norm going forward? Not sure. Are they going to be able to continue to do Fear past season 5 if it gets down to around the 1 million range? And what does that look like? We'll have to see. I mean, all this stuff is private. We don't know, in terms of cost, how much it costs for them to produce. Fear the Walking Dead. I'm sure it's considerably less than the original Walking Dead series. They are getting 16 episodes of original programming. They get to couple it with other shows like Preacher and then having, Talking Dead and stuff like that on afterwards. So it is still, when you look at the amount of episodes they're doing, one of the biggest draw series that AMC has with Fear the Walking Dead. And even if it will never be quite as big as the original series, I think that's easy to say. I think it's done pretty good over the years when you look at it, especially the first season and where it started out. But that was kind of like right around the time when the original Walking Dead series was insanely popular as well, too, right? A few years ago. So, so does it speak to the episodes and kind of how people are feeling about Morgan's fear? Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. What do you attribute that to? What do you attribute, just these kind of lower... Because if you think about it, these last few episodes have been lower than any episodes in prior seasons, right? So they're below 2 million, which is lower than any episode from season 3 or prior, certainly. So do you guys think that maybe the decision to transfer Fear over to Morgan was actually a bad idea? Do you think that even though it had a little bit of a pump at the beginning of the season, overall it turned out to kind of be something where it wasn't worth doing? Or do you think, no, it was necessary to bring Morgan in because Frank Delane wanted to leave, and if he didn't do that, then the series would probably have to end at the end of season 4 or something? So let me know what you guys think about that one in the comments below. Not a whole lot of demand for Fear the Walking Dead right now, but I'm still going to continue with the series. I'm going to still review it with you guys every Sunday night, so expect a review for tonight and everything like that. I'm still enjoying it, having fun with you guys discussing the series and what the series could be. I feel like with Fear the Walking Dead, it's always been about what the potential of the series could be, and even if it's never ever reached that, there's been some good points. Like if you start at season 3, mid-half of season 4, I really feel like it's been really, really strong. Even if you don't necessarily agree with all the decisions they made and all the characters they killed off, maybe killing Madison off was a huge mistake for Fear, and maybe you can attribute kind of the lower kind of results for the series right now to that, now that people are getting to kind of get a feel for what Fear the Walking Dead feels like with Morgan at the helm. Maybe people are not enjoying it that much, and maybe they feel like, it would have been better if they would have kept Madison around. But who knows? Leave a comment below. Let me know where you guys are at in this one and how you can explain or what sense does it make to you, for the series having its lowest rated episodes ever in this last quarter. And is it, what do you think is the cause of that? Do you think it's overall kind of Walking Dead zombie fatigue? Do you think it's the switch over to Morgan? Do you think it's just because if you look at the episodes, they haven't been, putting that much into them? And, how much longer do you think Fear will go? Do you think this trend will continue? And do you think we will see a season 6 for Fear, because we know it's been renewed already for season 5? So let me know what you guys think about that one. That is kind of crazy to think. When the series started out, you probably would never think that it would go from 10 million to ever have an episode that would be 1.5 in its run. But it has. So that one came from Daniel. So I want to thank you, Daniel, for sending that one through. He said, "Did you notice Fear's ratings have gone down to 1.5 million? I'm afraid they're going to do the same reboot with The Walking Dead. In Fear, they killed Nick and Madison. The Walking Dead, Rick and Carl. Plus now Maggie will be gone too." So we don't know. So he's saying they killed Carl. We'll have to see with Maggie and Rick what they're going to do. And then he asks, does Kirkman even care about the TV show now? So we've kind of given our thoughts on that one most recently. I'm sure he cares to a degree, but obviously there's a lot of people involved here. We can't just say it's like as if he has anything to do with it. He's writing the comics. He's doing everything else he's doing. He's got all these other series and stuff he's working on. So certainly I don't think we should hold Kirkman accountable for what happens in Fear now, really, or even the original series either. I'm sure he's involved, but it's probably not nearly as much as it used to be based on what I've seen in interviews and that. But with regards to what will happen to the original Walking Dead series, will we see something similar when you try to kind of do a soft reboot like this? Tough to say, man. I think it all depends on the details. It all depends on how it's done through. I really felt like Fear the Walking Dead's reboot was, I mean, there was a few things there, obviously, that we mentioned earlier that could have been done better in the first half, but I still felt like it was a really good half. And aside from the major character death for Madison, I really felt like, you pretty much everything was it was all beneficial because you knew Frank was going to leave. So Nick had to go. You had no choice. So it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But if they had kept Madison around for this back half here and Morgan together, it's just my personal subjective opinion here, but I think it probably would be doing better than it is now. But that said, hard to tell because it's summertime and stuff, and there hasn't been that much hype around Walking Dead this year, not as much as usual from what I've seen, at least from my point of view. So take that for what you will. But with regards to season 9 and them kind of switching over the leads here, definitely, Rick and Maggie won't be the leads after that. So is that going to decline things after they're gone? I mean, I think so. I mean, you still have some others there. Of course, you have Daryl, you have Carol, you have tons of characters in the original Walking Dead series, whereas Fear has got a very limited roster right now. So we'll see how the fans respond to it and just what overall is going on or how you can describe or explain it. Maybe it's just the amount of episodes they've done of both the series combined. And whether or not it's okay, I hope it's okay for both series, because I'd like to see both series continue on. But obviously, I do know, because I've been, doing this now for close to a decade, that obviously when shows start to really decline a lot and their ratings go down a lot, they can get canceled. If you look at Gotham, for example, which is going to be ending next year, I'll do a video on that pretty soon on its release date for its last season, which is season 5. The show was very expensive to do, and it wasn't able to, get enough. Like there's a certain amount they need to do in order for it to be profitable. And obviously, if a show's more expensive to do, it needs to get more. A few million might not be enough if it's an expensive show. If it costs $3 million an episode, and then you're only getting like 2 million viewers or something, or 3 million viewers, it might not be worth it. But if Fear is cheaper to do, maybe they're okay with 1.5 million viewers per episode. Maybe that's all right. If Fear is pretty cost effective and it's not that hard to do. So it's really hard to tell, and obviously, a lot of times you don't get to find out this information of how much it actually costs for them to do an episode. I'm sure the original Walking Dead is very expensive to put together. I would think it would be probably millions of dollars an episode, or at least, similar to Gotham or something like that, or at least a portion of that, I would think, right? So yeah, but again, no way to know for sure. R. Perez says, 34 says, "Hey Trev, what do you think Fear the Walking Dead Season 5 Endgame will be? My only guess is that whoever is left in the group stumbles upon the Commonwealth, and that's how ultimately the shows merge. What do you think?" I love that. I love that idea. It would also kind of have it parallel the original Walking Dead series, where at the end of Season 4, the groups kind of come together, and then you have them kind of travel around for a bit, and eventually in the second half of Season 5, similarly with how the original Walking Dead found Alexandria, they find the Commonwealth, and then eventually you have both shows kind of merge, but in a way where they have options. So if the shows merge in this way, you could have the Commonwealth, maybe Rick leaves in the helicopter and goes there, he eventually goes to Fear, you have both shows running concurrently, and you can have characters going back and forth more easily because you have the Commonwealth as a connector piece between the two. But, we'll see. There's time skips and stuff like this and all kinds of craziness going on. So we'll see how it ultimately works itself out. But I like that idea. I think it's brilliant. And maybe that's the ultimate direction here of Fear. But who knows? We could be totally wrong on that, right? There's just no way to say until we actually see it. And even then, you got to watch for dumpsters. Dr. Death says, Q&A Trev, how do you think The Walking Dead will address Morgan being gone? For the casual viewer who does not watch Fear. Yeah, it's true, man. I thought, the thing with me is I was thinking like more people would be fans of Morgan, so more people would want to watch Fear to find out the rest of Morgan's story because he's a Walking Dead character. But, I guess I didn't really realize that, yes, people do care about Morgan to a degree, but summertime is hard to pull ratings. Summertime is difficult to get people invested in things. And Walking Dead's been on a long time, so I don't know, man, or maybe just kind of the way Fear has been going, it hasn't been able to keep people's interest that much. I'm not sure. That's pretty tricky. But for the original Walking Dead series, how will they address Morgan leaving? Well, I think Rick will understand that Morgan left. He will understand that Morgan left and went off soul searching and knows he's not dead. Knows that he hasn't been killed, I would think. Because I would think he would think Morgan's too crafty, he's too strong, he's too smart. Nobody would be able to kill him. He's out there somewhere. maybe helping people or who knows what, doing what, because that's that's how badass Morgan is, right? So I think they'll probably mention it, they'll probably address it, and I'm hoping to see something big for Fear at the end of this season. I'm hoping by the time we get to the season finale, we see something big and it starts to make sense why you had some kind of smaller time episodes here where you didn't get to see as much in Fear. So we'll see what they do, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season. But I do think that the original Walking Dead series will at least mention Morgan once during that season, maybe some protein bar talk or what have you. Alatoro5 says, "Hey Trev, I don't know if you're aware of this, but last night's episode week was actually directed by Coleman Domingo, the actor who plays Strand. Considering it was his first time directing the show, how do you think he did?" So yes, I did mention that in the videos this week. I thought he did good. I thought he did good, and I don't want to sound like I'm just beating up on Fear every day or Fear sucks or whatever. No, not at all. I've been enjoying some of these recent episodes for sure. The first half, I loved the first half of Fear. I thought it was really intriguing, and even though I hated the mid-season finale death, I really did hate that. It really ruined a lot of it for me. It was definitely compelling, and it was definitely like must-watch, and it was some crazy stuff going on in that first half, so I was pretty intrigued by it. But with regards to Strand and Coleman and his directing, I thought he did really good. I thought last week's episode was directed well and everything like that. I didn't have any issues with it. I thought he did a good job. I don't think that anything that we've been seeing recently could be attributed to his work. I thought his work was good. Jessica Gould says, "So are we supposed to pretend Daniel and the other people never existed? LOL." So with them, I kind of got the impression from interviews that they could come back and that they might bring them back. So we'll see about that. Maybe they will bring Ruben Blades back. The only thing is that the locations are distant, right? And it's the same thing with if you're going to cross over Dwight into Fear. The locations are pretty far away. So if you're going to bring characters in as crossovers, you kind of have to do it sparingly, I think, and it has to be done sort of distant from each other. So you can do one, like maybe one a season or something, or every couple seasons, and do something like that. So maybe we will see Daniel again. I think the showrunners kind of alluded to that they might, we might see him again. Maybe it won't be this year, or maybe we'll see him near the finale. Who knows, right? But I hear what you're saying. The new version of Fear with Morgan and friends kind of erases the original Fear and what the original Fear was. And it's true that it does do that. But then again, I mean, you have the showrunner leaving, so it's not going to be the same no matter what. And you have Nick wanting to leave, and he was really like a big part of the future of Fear, right? Without him being fully invested in wanting, having the heart wanting to do it, without him, it's like, well, damn it, you're going to have to go in a different direction. So it's not like they really chose to have that happen. It's just kind of the way things went, with the exception of maybe the Madison kill, which I personally, I still don't like it. But, they did what they did, in their situation. So it's what it is. T-Man said, maybe it's because they killed off everyone who mattered to the story. That's true, right? So Fear is the opposite of The Walking Dead in that, they didn't just kill off a few important characters. They kill off everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you start the series off, and you're going to tell me, for predictions, you're going to say, here's who will survive. Alicia, Strand, and Luciana, the first couple seasons. I would say that's like the worst prediction ever. That's like the least likely few survivors out of the initial group that you would ever see. Like if you told me Chris would die and Travis would die and all the others that have been killed, Madison, everybody, I'd be like, no way. I'd be like, that's the worst death predictions ever, right? And that's actually what happened. So that's crazy, man. The last one will be from Boyd Crowder, who says season 4 is weaker than Deadpool's regenerated baby legs. So the weak title. So yeah, man. I mean, again, I don't just want this to turn into a beat up Fear video. It's more a seeking to understand type of video, trying to understand, for the community and what we're doing here. We kind of want to understand where interest is at and what people are enjoying, what's working and what's not working, right? And if something is not working for the fans or is not working for the viewers, why isn't it working? Was it a mistake to kill off Madison? Was it a mistake, that they changed Fear so drastically? Or no, would it be even in worse shape had they have just stayed that original course and just kept going with what they were doing originally? I don't know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think so I can get a better understanding of where you guys are at with this one. If you like this video, come on back tonight and check. I did a Walking Dead video earlier today as well, too. Rosita and Ezekiel, whether or not they'll survive Season 9. And then also tonight we'll have the review posted, predictions for the next episode, and Q&As for this week. Feel free to send me any questions you guys have for The Walking Dead or Fear. And I'll be throwing in some other videos this week. Like I said, Gotham, we got to touch on that, and some other series as well, too. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.